Let's start this game. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am ready. In fact, I'm so ready that I'm going to press the start game button. And as the timer counts down to 0, we switch over to the game screen where we're loading on Entombed Valley. And of course my overlay didn't conjure itself into being, so there we have it. Ta-da! Alright, we have spawning in the bottom right corner of the map. It is the yellow Protoss player Knight.
And here in the bottom left corner we have the red Protoss Sol.
Right, so PvP on Entombed Valley. Of course there's a pretty big chance of 4 gates or other gateway all-in / pressures coming up. The chance of a second base is limited as always. And we're going to have to see what exactly these players plan to do right now. They seem to be doing very similar things, placing their first pylon nice and snug up to the nexus, and just making their probes as usual.
Yeah, of course, since this is PvP, the first 3 or 4 minutes will be almost completely the same, with everyone still having getting their gas, getting their gateways and getting their subnet score at the predetermined times, and only then can you really deviate.
There is already a deviation though. Knight is sending out a very early scout. He really wants to see what's going on. He scouted in the right direction, so he actually sees everything that's happening. In the meantime, the probe for Sol is going cross map first, it seems. That is somewhat unusual choice, unless he wants to proxy something. Or just check out the watchtower to see incoming probes, but he already saw the probe as he left his base, so some trickery around the watchtower with a scouting pass. I'm not entirely sure what was behind that.
Well, Sol is the master player, so he's gotta have a plan or something for that. Gas now finished for Knight as well as for Sol. Both players can. There's gateways are finishing up, and there comes the subnet score for Sol, and there comes subnet score for Knight.
Yeah. So the players are still very close together in terms of build. Sol's a little bit ahead because he sent his probe out a bit later, so he got a little bit more extra mining going on before he had to send out his scouts.
Yeah, and we should soon come into the territory with some deviation. There's the first deviation. Sol is going for Zealot first, where Knight decides to add another gateway first.
Sol's getting his second gas, and the Zealot for Sol is now going to chase away this probe. Will it kill it? No, probe is faster and will outrun the Zealots.
Yeah. And there comes the chrono boost on the gateway research as well as the stalker for Knight. Yeah, both players still being nice in the way for a 4 gate. Let's see if they actually going to go through with it.
Not entirely sure. Knight doesn't have any chrono left on his nexus, though he stopped probe production. That is a bit unusual. If we look at Sol, he does have some chrono boost left on his nexus, but he's also still making probes, so it's not neither player is really going for the typical very hardcore all-in 4 gates.
We see however Knight going for the counter 4 gate build with 3 fast stalkers. So I'm curious what he's going to do with that. Meanwhile, Sol as a stalker and a Zealot on the map is going for a walk. Maybe try to set up some sort of proxy pylon or just scout for any proxy pylons that Knight might have placed there. And there's 2 more gateways coming up here for Sol.
There's an engagement on the map. 1 stalker and a Zealot for Sol against a stalker for Knight, but now 2 stalkers for Knight join in, and Sol is forced to retreat. Neither player took damage to the health of their units, so everything will regenerate, and this battle did not really do anything other than show the other player what exactly was available to their units. Knight now moving up the ramp for Sol, but there's a sentry there. This could be a bit dangerous. 2 stalkers get force fielded off, and the Zealot gets to work on the stalkers. Zealot is pulled back. I'm not sure if that's the best idea, because now the sentry is exposed. Sentry does not go down.
Yeah, and that was a very nice engagement for Sol. Both players now actually going for the 3 gate robotics. Knight has a bit of a head start on his robotics, though Sol has now the lead in his army because he managed to very well stalkers of Knight there very, very well, and is now in a position where he can actually push his advantage through a little bit.
Sol is going to take an expansion. He has a probe ready. 400 minerals has been reached, and there we go. Nexus is going down, so it's pretty good. He won the engagement. He knows he's a bit ahead in army, so he will be able to defend this ramp with the 2 sentries that he have and get that expansion going. Both players getting an observer, so no secrets will be handed for either player in a little while.
Knight still doesn't know about the expansion from Sol, so yeah, he should be pushing to do something about it, because if Sol can manage to get it up and get it running, he will be in a very good position, because then he will be able to power more gateways and even add in some more gas-heavy tech like Storms or Colossus, and that would really put Knight in an uncomfortable position.
Definitely. Sol is actually being very diligent with the scouting. He's now sending out his observer, and he has a probe patrolling back and forth on the main path that Knight would attack from, so any attacks will be spotted pretty early if Knight decides to push out, so that's quite nice. Observer for Sol now reached Knight's base, and Knight's observer is going into Sol's base right now. Does it see the expansion? No, it sees the pylon in the natural, but it doesn't see the actual nexus being down. Now it takes another turn and it will see the nexus. So Knight is available, is aware that that second base is up. There are no probes there yet. He doesn't see that clearly. But Knight may be realizing that he's a bit behind as he moves out his army onto the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Knight's now looking for a position though that's advantageous to him. Sol set up his force quite nice there at the top of the ramp, so Knight will have to go look for a good engagement. He managed snipes one stalker over there. Chance running up.
The observer for Sol was snipes. Oh, but the immortals are up front and they will be taken out, while the stalkers are helpless behind the force fields. And Knight is forced to retreat, as that engagement did not go very well for him at all.
Yeah, and Sol actually now has his expansion up, and now it will be hard pressed to find a way to get back in this game, because these engagements keep going in the favor of Sol here, and Knight will be falling farther and farther behind if this keeps up. Yeah,
the income is already starting to shift in favor of Sol, and now with double nexus to produce probes from and 2 mineral lines to mine from, he will be able to expand it even further. Sol moving down the ramp, trying to get some damage done, kills a stalker, baits out a single force field, and then pulls back.
Yeah, Knight looking here for a bit of extra engagement with another front being available to him. Sol thinks, okay, let me help you with that, because those engagements are, yeah, with force fields like that, any engagement will go heavily in the favor of Sol here. Actually managed to save the settler there, and Knight once again losing just bits and chunks of his army. And if this keeps up, I think one time Sol will find the perfect opportunity he wants, and this takes out, this will clean up all the whole army. Immortal going down for Knight, and Sol's army is just so much bigger than Knight's at the moment, and there he crushes what's left of the army of Knight. One Immortal coming in to save,
but that's not nearly enough, and here we see the GG, and Sol takes the game and goes up 1-0 in this series. Convincing victory, just winning out on the engagements, and then making sure that he could keep his expansion and just build a bigger army basically. So that's pretty nice for him. Congrats. Knight will be down 0-1, has to fight to get back into it.